Okay, what's up, everyone who's listening? Today we are back with someone who has been in the podcast before. I think it's probably a year ago. It was one of the episodes that I got a lot of feedback from and actually a lot of positive feedback, because Spotify playlist is something that, that interests a lot of artists right now. And this is the guy who knows a lot about it. He actually wrote a book about it, and he's just someone that I appreciate a lot. And yeah, I think he's capable of adding a lot of value to your life. So please welcome Mike Warner.
Thank you, Joey. Thank you. It's great to be back, and I appreciate the very kind intro there as well. It's like you said, I got a lot of feedback about that episode as well, and I'm grateful to be back here again to talk about this even more.
Yeah, that's great to hear. It's just all the truth. Like, I really have been getting feedback from clients, but also people who follow me on socials. And I think the main feedback that I got from it was people. I actually recommend the book to a lot of people as well. And then when they come back and they have read the book and they say like, "Holy shit! I didn't know there was so much things around the world of playlisting." And I think that that's the big insight you give to a lot of people, like showing how deeply or the depth of the world behind playlisting is.
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, the fact that some people find the book, I don't want to say overwhelming, but some people feel like it's almost information overload. To be honest, when I went to put it out, I had doubts, like anyone does when they're releasing anything. And I went, is this ready? Is this polished enough? Is this going to be valuable enough to people? And it reminded me of when people have a track that they've been sitting on for so long.
Yep.
And then finally someone says, just put it out and move on. Put it out and then let the people decide. And that's kind of what happened with the book. And fortunately, it has helped a lot of people. I mean, so to be honest, it almost didn't come out at that point. But I knew that it had to get out because it was still,
and why was
it
that?
was valuable. So,
why was that?
So why was that?
Like, why did it almost not come out?
Just because for me, it was almost like with a track where you just go, I don't know if it's completely finished, if I should put this out. And I realized, no, this needs to go out. If someone finds a spelling error in there, great, I'll fix it. If somebody says that something is now wrong, that's bound to happen with anything in the music industry. Things change all the time. So I just said, you know what? I've got the blog. I can update people online. If something completely changes, it's not that hard to go live on Instagram, record a YouTube video, do a blog post and go, hey, in my book, it mentions this, but now things have changed. Yeah. So this is a new process with this DSP or whatever.
I actually think that that's one of the most valuable things about the book, is that when you buy the book, you get a lifetime of updates around all the things that are happening. Because, like you say, we live in a world where everything constantly changes, especially when it comes down to all the technology stuff, which is changing even more rapidly than the rest in life, as it seems. So I think that's a nice addition and like a more of this world feature to bring into the world of books.
Yeah, being able to push updates like that really helped out as well. Obviously with the paperback and hardcover, it's a little different. You don't want to say to people, hey, you purchased the book 1 week ago and I updated it. I changed the information on these 2 pages. Yeah. So yes, with the digital version, it's a lot easier because I have people's email addresses if they add it when they make the purchase. So I can just send them out a new link and say, here's an updated version of the book. Obviously, paperback and hardcover, I'm not going to do that to people. It's going to be updated less frequently, but it will be synchronized with the digital version as well.
Okay. Fun. And I just remembered that you were actually the one who motivated me to write my book. Remember?
Yeah. You know what, though? You shot ahead of me and you did the audiobook. And
Yeah.
it sounded great. I'm not sure. I know you didn't read it, but whoever narrated that did a great job because um, I was hooked. I knew parts of your story, but to hear it and hear it completed, and it sounded great, and it had my attention the entire time.
Thanks.
And you put it up for free at one point, right?
It's still for free. Like my whole idea,
What?
yeah, my whole idea behind the book was to put it out for free, because I don't really feel like making money from it. I just think it's more important to bring the story into the world, to make more people aware of what might happen as an artist.
Yeah.
So I brought it. I just put it out for free. It's still available for free. The only thing was that the paperback, I could not put that out for free because Amazon
Yeah.
and all the other platforms require like a minimum payment because they print it and blah blah blah. So that's where I need to have like I think it's $10 or something like the minimum fee. But yeah, the ebook and the audiobook is available for free. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
I remember that conversation. That might have been after the last podcast recording, even
Yeah. Yeah.
where we were talking about that. So yeah, I was so glad when you went out and did it. And your audiobook sounded so good that it's inspired me to do mine.
Hey,
Um,
I can send you
and
the link to the narrator if you want to.
yeah,
It's a guy that I got from Fiverr.
wow,
Yeah.
wow. Yeah, I think you should share that link with everyone. I feel like that guy's about to get a lot of work.
Yeah, he was great. Like that's the way. That's the thing I like the most about living in a world where we live in. Like it's so easy to have a creative idea and actually make it into the real world, and without any big what's the word, like without any big hurdles along the way. Because it's so easy, I just reached out to this guy. He's from the States. He was a narrator. He charged a small fee. We texted over and again, like for some small feedback things. And within, I think 1 week, I just had the whole book narrated.
Wow.
Yeah, it was great.
That's a fast turnaround time as well. I'm blown away by that. I'm gonna get that link off you
Yeah,
after
I'll
this,
send
and
it
at
to
the
you after
very
this.
least have a conversation. Yeah,
Yeah, sure, no
um,
problem.
that's awesome.
So,
So
mhm,
yeah, no, I'm handing it over to you.
okay.
Let's
So
talk about anything you would like to talk about.
yeah, what I was wondering, because it has been so long that we recorded the previous episode, and of course I'm a member of your blog slash newsletter slash update from the book list as well. Um, I've been seeing a lot of updates during the time, and I was wondering what has changed in the world of playlisting in the last couple of months, and what your thoughts around the whole playlisting world is right now. So let's start with the first thing. What has changed?
Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, if we just focus on Spotify at first, and then we talk about the other services as well, of course,
Sure. Yeah.
because it's everyone's important here. I mean, I know there's a number of people that choose Spotify or Apple Music or Deezer, whatever you're using, this information is relevant. But
Mm-hmm.
Spotify had some, I guess, recent updates. One of them being, we know there's editorial playlists out there where you get placed and you're in that playlist. If you're position number 5 in that playlist, that's worldwide. Anyone that goes to that playlist will see your song at that position. They also released personalized editorial playlists, which change for each unique listener or user. So what that means is I could send you a link to a playlist and you would open it up and the songs would be completely different to what my playlist looks like, even though that playlist could have 1.4 million followers, for
Yeah.
example.
So that's
So
big because that's in that way you can share your own link with your fans, and then your own song might be on top of the list.
Well, yeah, well, I'll get to that in a second because that's a good point. They do have a unique link that you can share as well.
Mm-hmm.
So what I like about the personalized editorial playlist is it's more tailored to the individual listener. So if you go to a weekend themed playlist and you like house music, you're more likely to hear tracks that are house music in that playlist than hear, Ed Sheeran or a pop track or something like that. So it's really going to start catering to the individual listener.
So they actually
so that
switch between genres as well. It's not just
yeah.
switching up the songs in the playlist, but like completely different playlists.
Yeah, so I've seen multiple genres in the playlist for different listeners, and various artists and everything else, and it's a completely different experience for each listener. I mean, yes, sometimes it gets it a little bit off, and you'll get a song in there that doesn't quite fit, but you accept it, and it's easy enough to hit skip if that happens. But I really like it because it's also feeding the discovery as well. It's not just putting in, oh, here's 150 or 100 songs that you already know. It's going, here's some songs that you may know, here's some songs you may like, here's some songs that will fit for you. So I'm finding that the listeners that are coming through from those are a lot more likely to convert over and become fans. Mm-hmm. Because they like similar artists, and we cater to their tastes as well. So, but yeah, adding to your point on that, when you get added to a personalized editorial playlist from Spotify, as long as you're registered with Spotify for Artists, they will send you an email and they'll say, hey, you've been added to this personalized editorial playlist. Click here to get your special link. You log in on Spotify for Artists. It's very simple. There's a button to copy the URL. Mm-hmm. And what happens is if you share that link within the first 7 days of being added, anyone that clicks that link, it will take them directly to that playlist, and your song will be number one on that playlist as long as they do it through that link. Mm-hmm. So, which is great, because how many times have people shared a link to a playlist and said, hey, we're on this Spotify playlist, go find it, type in our name in the search box, scroll down to position 81 and hit play.
And that's us.
Now,
yay.
Yeah, exactly. So now it's, no, here, follow this link and you're number one on there. So it's more incentive for the artist to share that link and share the good news, do a swipe up in Instagram or a tweet or a Facebook post, LinkedIn, whatever your jam is. Mm-hmm. And then, Spotify, of course, they're going to see that as well. They're going to see that you're directing people to that playlist. So, I think it's a win-win on both sides. And it's because that, as I mentioned, these are more personalized. They're catered to the listener. Mm-hmm. So you're not sending them to a playlist where they have to dig for your song, or there's a whole bunch of songs that are completely different to your song.
It's more user-friendly for your fans as well, because the song's just right there, like on top of the playlist.
Exactly. The other thing with Spotify is not many people were talking about this, but it's been out for a while now. They created a separate app called Stations, and it's not in all countries yet. So if you're listening and you can't see it in the App Store, it may not be in your country, but I've had the opportunity to try it out, and it's interesting because it's basically a lighter version of Spotify that's just focused on stations and just continuous music. So what that means is you open the Stations app and you log in with your Spotify free or premium account. And then what happens is, as soon as you tap on an artist or a playlist, it treats it as a station, as if you're in your car and you're changing radio stations. And as soon as you tap on another artist or you tap on another playlist, it changes immediately. Okay. And so let's say what I really like to do, just as an example, is I like to turn my Discover Weekly or my Release Radar playlist into a radio station that just plays all day. Mm-hmm. And let's say I change to another station in there and start listening. So let's say I listen to JoeySuki radio, and then I jump back. It will remember what point I was up to in that track, and it feels like you're actually switching live stations.
Yeah. Oh, that's fun. Yeah, I heard
powered by
about
Spotify.
It. Yeah, and I think I heard it through your mailing list. It's that app where they try to beat radio, right? Like it's kind of the new radio.
Yeah, look, I don't think it's I feel it's similar to Pandora.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I feel that people that like the experience of using Pandora because they know what artists they like and they just want to keep getting fed music from similar artists all day.
Mm-hmm.
This could be a way for them to potentially come across to Spotify and try Spotify out as well. Um, it does have the usual features where if you like a track, I mean, you can heart it and then it will go into your new liked songs playlist. So next time you open Spotify, all those tracks that you've liked on while listening on to a station will now appear in your liked songs playlist. And then the discovery just keeps following from there. You can follow an artist that you hear, and it's just a very clean looking interface. It's just swipe up and down to change the stations. So I'd recommend checking it out if you're someone that just, especially when you're driving, you just want the music to just keep going and you like to have a little button there when you are safely stopped so that you can heart a song or like an artist. It's worth checking out.
I can imagine that the heart function that you just mentioned, like if you like a song, just tap like or heart or whatever it is, that could replace Shazam. Because now you have to put out your phone, like start recording the song that you hear, which you like. Like it's a lot of steps. Right now you hear a song that you're not familiar with, but you like it because Spotify tailors it to you, and then it's just like, and it's in your playlist already.
Yeah, you know what's interesting though? There is a feature that I don't know if many people have realized or been aware of this, but obviously Apple acquiring Shazam, they were always using Shazam and they were integrating it with Siri. Even before they acquired Shazam, they were using that technology. And so I can't say the exact phrase because my phone will go off right now, but if you were to say, hey, and then that nice lady's name in your phone, followed by what song is this, it would actually be pulling up Shazam even before Apple acquired Shazam. And that was being delivered by there. So that was contributing to their charts. That was contributing to the number of Shazams for that artist and for that song. So to be honest, I don't actually have the Shazam app on my phone anymore because I can just do that now. And then you can hit play immediately on that song, or you can take a screenshot of it to remind yourself for later. And I know that that artist is still getting that Shazam from me as well, which is helping contribute to their chart positions. But yeah, it's a good point. I mean, there's so many ways now to keep taking the music with you. I love the fact that you hear a song when you're out. Pretty much any device you have now, there is a way of just holding it up and knowing what that song is to either remind yourself because you love that song or you've just heard it for the first time. And then you can, of course, go home, add that to your playlist if it hasn't automatically been added. So, and that kind of, that's one thing that I really like about this because there's so much music that's out there. And, I still like discovering a song in the old school way of just walking around. You're out at the mall, you're at a bar, you're at a restaurant, you're at a friend's house, it plays on the TV, whatever. Being able to ask your device, what song is this, is something that I wish I had back in the day. But also, I guess, then once you knew the name of the song, the next part was the hunting, which was kind of fun in its own way. We don't really have to do that anymore. No. But you would go to the record store and then you would have to put your name and phone number down and order a copy, wait 2 weeks, it arrives, and then you have to go home and listen to it. Yeah. So we really are blessed with all this technology now that we can discover music and instantly have access to it, listen to it anywhere and take it with us. And
what's one of my favorite functions within Spotify, and I think it has been there from the beginning on. But if you create your own playlist, because I like to create my own playlists on genre basis, based on genres. And then within the playlist, once you have a couple of songs in there, underneath the playlist, it tells you like recommended for this playlist.
Yeah.
So new songs recommended based on the style of that playlist. I really had a lot of songs. I discovered a lot of songs through that function.
Yeah, and same here. I've used it to create some of my own playlists. I'm not sure if you're familiar with, I have a playlist called If You Like Kaytranada. Obviously, I'm a big fan of Kaytranada. And so that playlist, I probably had about 50 or 60 tracks in there from artists that I feel have a similar sound, could be inspired by Kaytranada, plus original productions. And so I started to really feed that. And then when I got to that point, down the bottom, the suggestions were really good. They were on point for the most part. So I would start listening to them and find a few more songs to add. Before I knew it, I had over 100 songs on that playlist, and I had to start sort of culling it down a little and fine tuning. But it's really handy. You have to feed the algorithm a little bit. You have to tell it what you like, and you have to tell it what you don't like, and then the suggestions just get better and better. I mean, it's never going to go, here's a really obscure track that this person hasn't listened to that we think they'd like. It's going to be very safe with the suggestions. So it's not going to be able to tell you that every single song that you could potentially like that is out there, but it is at least going to find similar songs for you and help you discover other artists that you may like.
And how can you, of course, Spotify has a lot of features and a lot of things that are possible, mostly made for the consumer, right? For the people who just consume music through the platform.
Yep.
But how can we influence that as an artist? So how can we push our music through those Spotify playlists? How can we get our music in those playlists? And how can we maximize our success on Spotify?
Yeah, I mean, the number one thing with Spotify is once you've finished your track, you've uploaded it to your distributor, or you've handed it over to your label, they've set a release date. However you're pushing it out, what you want to do is sometimes up to 24, 48 hours after you've uploaded to your distributor or your label has said it's up, the release date is scheduled, you would log into Spotify for Artists and you would see you have an upcoming release right there on your dashboard. Then you would follow that and it would take you to a submission form. This is the number one thing that you need to do because there's multiple reasons here. The first one is it's the only way for an artist themselves to submit music to editorial and make sure that you reach the right people in that time. And so this allows you to tag the song by genre. You can tag instruments used. You can tag the language. You can tag if it's an instrumental song. You can tag the mood, and then you can write a short piece about the song as well. Whether it's the marketing plan that you've got in place for it, if you've got something really unique and creative that they might find interesting, or whether it's just a compelling story about the song and what prompted you to write it and what it's about and what it means to you. From there, as long as you hit that submit button down the bottom, at least 7 days before that song is scheduled to go live, what will happen is it will go into release radar for all of your followers. So if you have 500 followers, that's 500 release radars. 10,000 followers, 10,000 release radars.
Only if you submit it
and the
through
other
that
thing
function.
is correct. So
Okay.
it actually says on there, and it's on the FAQ, the frequently asked questions on there as well. It will say if you submit at least 7 days prior, it's not a remix, it's an original song that's been released for the first time. It's guaranteed to go into release radar for all of your followers, as long as it is more than 7 days before release date that you're submitting it.
And is there a difference between followers and monthly listeners?
Yeah, so followers are people that have actually clicked that button on your artist profile and they're gonna see you in their release radar moving forward, and they may see more songs from you in other playlists as well that are fed to them. But monthly listeners changes all the time. That is the number of individual users who have their own Spotify account who have listened to at least one song from you in the last month. And a listen only counts after 30 seconds of listening to your song. If they listen for 5 seconds or 10 seconds and they skip, that doesn't count.
Okay.
So, these are people that have listened to at least 30 seconds. That counts as a stream. And it's only each monthly listener is a unique user or an individual with their own Spotify account. So if you have 100,000 monthly listeners right now, in the last month, that's 100,000 unique people that have listened to at least one of your songs. Some of them could have listened to 5 of your songs or listened to your entire discography. But yeah, one monthly listener is one person that's listened to at least one song.
I actually really didn't know that if you submitted it through the platform itself, that you were guaranteed to be in the release radar of your followers. That's a big thing.
Yeah, it's huge because a lot of artists put so much time into growing their following in different ways, and why wouldn't you want to then reach that following by just following this process? And I always say, if you haven't done this, this is the number one thing you need to do right now. The song is done. It's up. It's ready to go live. You need to do this with Spotify right now. And then, the third party stuff you can do after the song has come out. And we'll get to that as well, of course. But editorial, they need time. Because yes, you're tagging the song, you're putting in all the information so that hopefully it gets to the right person at Spotify in the editorial team. So when they listen, they go, yes, this would fit my playlist. I'm going to place it. The more time they have, the more opportunity that they actually have to listen to it and potentially place it. So yes, you need to submit at least 7 days before. But I always say the more time you give, the better. No one's going to be mad if you submit a song 4 weeks before or 6 weeks before. And it could circulate more and it has more opportunity to be heard by more people.
Better safe than sorry.
Exactly. So, always, especially, with artists. There's people that spend 6 months working on a song. I know you're excited to put it out, but if you put it out and it comes out the next day, there's not really any opportunity for anyone to hear it before it goes live. So give yourself a break and submit it and have that lead time so people can listen. In addition to that, Pandora recently updated their submission process as well through their artist marketing platform, amp.pandora.com. So on there, and I put a link to this up online as well, and I'll make sure that I share it with you for all the listeners. But you can now submit, if you're an independent artist, you can submit your track into Pandora for consideration for radio across Pandora Radio, which, as we know, that is the number one driver of streams on Pandora for an artist, because you are fed directly into all these different radio stations with similar artists. The audience can be huge on there because people don't have to go and specifically seek you out to find you a song and listen to it. And I did that when they recently made this change. So if for anyone that's done this in previous years, I suggest going on and doing it now. What's really cool and unique about Pandora with this is you can submit a song that's already been released. Okay. So you can go into your, they limit how many you can do, of course, so you don't go in and submit your entire back catalog. So you still need to be selective. But if you've had a song that's been out, maybe it's gained some traction somewhere else, you can go in there and submit that previous release to Pandora for consideration for placement across their radio as well.
It's interesting.
So, if you've done it before, go in and try the new process. I did it with a previously released track and got an email back. Roughly 1 to 2 weeks was when I heard back, and it was placed, and the numbers have been great. So definitely try that one out as well.
That's a good tip as well. And
Yeah.
we've had the editorial playlist, but there's also the third party playlists. One of the things that I get a lot on my socials, but also from clients, is it's so hard to get featured in those playlists because everyone, literally every artist, is trying to fight for that same spot. Um, do you have you noticed like any trends like that have made it easier for you to get featured in those playlists, or is it just luck?
I I feel like the same way that you would collaborate on a song with another artist, people are collaborating on their playlist strategies.
Mm-hmm.
So what that could look like is you have a small group of similar artists where you support each other. You start with your own playlist where you obviously place each other's songs in the playlist, and then you start circulating that, growing the following. And then people start to take notice and they go, that looks good. I want to be part of this. And then it grows that way. Um, and then what happens is you get a playlist where even if it's a few hundred followers, if they're organic followers and you're getting listeners, people want to be on it.
Yeah.
Even, if I said to you, hey, I've got a playlist that is well curated, it only has 200 followers right now, but there's probably 50 monthly listeners that might hear your track on it. You're going to go, well, I want to be on it.
Why not?
I want those real listeners. One of them could be a lifelong fan.
Yeah.
They could go to every one of my shows. They could purchase all my merchandise. So, and then what happens is you go, well, that's something of value. And then what happens is people start reaching out and expanding. And you might go, well, I've got a playlist too with, 2,000 followers that I think one of your songs would be a great fit on. So what's happened is you've kind of both skipped the line as such by having something of value when you reach out to someone else. So instead of just cold emailing 500 people and saying, hey, hope you're doing well, here's my track, I'm sure you'll love it. And then the person on the other end curates a hip hop playlist and you've sent them a house track.
Yeah.
They're going to dismiss anything you send them in future.
Yeah.
So what's better is going, hey, I've listened to your playlist, but I also, if they're an artist, I've listened to your song. It's a great fit for my playlist. I've added it. Just wanted to let you know. And that's it. Don't ask for anything in return. And that's how I worked it at first. And then what would happen is they'd come back, oh, thanks so much. I checked out your playlist. Do you release music too? Yeah. And then when they ask for it, you send them the track. If it fits their playlist, they may add it.
Yeah.
If it doesn't fit their playlist, I respect their curation. I just say, you know what? That just makes me respect you even more as a curator because you won't add something if it doesn't fit, which makes your playlist far more valuable.
Which might take me to the next thing, because there's a lot of curators out there who are, well, in it for the music. Let's call it like that. Like they're really picky with what they curate and how they curate their playlists. They're really picky with their music. That's what you respect in them. How do you handle curators which ask for money to get featured? Like how does that? What's your opinion on that?
I don't do it straight up. The reason for that is here's the thing. The response is going to come in a couple of different ways. One of them is you send them your track and they'll come back and go, I love your track. It's a perfect fit for my playlist. The only way that it's going to get on there is if you give me a donation, or, sometimes they'll just be as blatant and say, the only way you're going to get on there, it's going to cost you $200 and I'll keep you on there for 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Or $500, you'll be in the top 10 for 6 weeks. And you go, well, I mean, if you like my song, wouldn't you just place it? I understand that you don't make money as a curator in any other way, but if you're just blatantly taking money, then money is influencing your playlist. I mean, yes, you may like these songs, but I don't have much confidence in how genuine this playlist is if money is the main motivator. It's like an artist that just makes music to make money. It's there's no love in that. There's no heart.
Yeah.
You know, so that's one way that it could come across. The other way, which is even worse, I feel, is they'll come back and you go, hey, I've got a song to send you. And they go, oh, cool. Yeah, I'll add it to my playlist for this much. And you haven't even sent them the song. They haven't heard it. They don't know anything about what it sounds like. And they've already told you their price and said that they will add it. Yeah. That's a massive alarm, you know, and some of these playlists, you can imagine what the curation looks like if anyone can just pay and be placed in them.
Yeah.
No one is listening to that and enjoying it. I've seen playlists out there that are named after popular movies, and I've spoken about this many times, and it could be, you know, the Guardians of the Galaxy soundtrack or something like that, a movie that has a really popular soundtrack. And so somebody creates a playlist with that name, and then they just toss any song in there, and what you get is just a clusterfuck of multiple genres in this playlist, and it sounds like a train wreck. And it's not that the music is bad, but the curation is terrible. So what you get is you go in there and you go, oh, here's a hip hop track, here's a neo soul track, here's a jazz track, here's a EDM track, here's a dubstep track, here's a track from the 1940s that I guess got re-released, you know, and it's just this mess. And even worse, I've seen some of those playlists where an artist has paid for every track on their album to be added, and the curator or whoever is doing it has literally just dragged the entire album in the playlist. So you're listening down, and then you get 20 songs of an album playing in order before you get to any other song in that playlist. So it's safe to say that if there's any streams or listeners being generated from that playlist, they're either deaf or they're a robot, or there's something else going on there, because no one is enjoying that. Nobody is going to be converting to a fan of that. These playlists, I mean, yeah, there are some good songs in there, but I'd rather go hunting anywhere else. Yeah. Discover Weekly, Release Radar, or just lucky dip on another playlist that's actually well curated. It's so yeah, I'd say it's not going to help you long term. Mm-hmm. And if you're just trying to fake your numbers, it's kind of like, look at Facebook. You know, look at what happened. People went and spent all this money, got 500,000 followers on their Facebook page, and then they get 2 engagements every time they do a post. Yeah, and that's what's going to start happening with streaming. Yeah, exactly. So you're going to go, oh, look at us. We've got 500,000 monthly listeners, 10 followers, and you know, our latest song has 1 million streams, but everything else in our catalog didn't even break 1,000. And people are going to look at that and very quickly be able to work out what's going on there. So the whole fake it till you make it, I don't think it's worth doing at all.
But how, like, because as an artist, what I get from a lot of people around me as well is that I always tell them to go over to Spotify and look up playlists that might fit their music, right? So look up playlists that fit their genre and just connect with the playlist owner themselves, try to set up a connection. But one of the things that I get back from them as well is, how can I see which one is fake or like bought followers or bought listeners or whatever, and which ones are real? Do you have some tips for that? Like how you can pick out the wrong ones and the right ones?
Yeah. I mean, looking at the playlist first, and, you know, if the curation is terrible, if you go to that playlist and you listen and you go, oh, what's going on? It's changing genres. This last song it doesn't even sound like a final mix. The vocals are way too quiet in the mix. It's poorly mixed. You know, things like that set off alarm bells for you. You know, obviously somebody with a good set of ears, and you go, I'm not enjoying listening to this. Why would you want to be on that playlist then? Move on. You know, it's all about the right fit for you. That's more important. Mm-hmm. You know, but obviously poorly curated, a bunch of random songs thrown together, or worst case, an entire album thrown in there together. Just, you know, move on from that one. if they ask for money, then that's easy. You can tell very quickly that that's what they're going for. But the other one is, I mean, what I've found is if you go to a playlist and you look at the followers and it's a large number of followers, cool. That's the only metric we used to have available. And then you would click, let's say you see an artist in #1 position on that playlist and their song has been added more than 7 days ago. So it's been in there for a week at least. Click on that artist and then go to the About tab in Spotify. And this will only work in the app that you download on your computer. And then in the About tab, you'll look at Discovered On. And it will show you the 5 playlists that are delivering the most unique monthly listeners.
Yeah, that's a good tip.
Yeah. And so what happens is, that playlist with 100,000 followers may deliver 60,000 monthly listeners, which is awesome. Then what you do is you go back to that playlist, you go to the second artist down, third artist down, fourth artist down, see if they're getting any monthly listeners from that playlist. Because what I find with some of these playlists is it's only the song in the #1 position that they're pushing all the streams to. And all the other songs in there are getting pretty much 0. So that's another way of checking as well. And this is something anyone can do. You don't need to purchase any additional product or service to do this. Just take a look. And I mean, look, sometimes it could be I go to a playlist, I listen to the first track and then decide I'm out. This isn't my playlist. But keep in mind that for those unique monthly listeners to show, somebody has to listen to that song for at least 30 seconds. I mean, I'm sure that you could tell within 10 seconds if there's a song that is not your jam, and then you move on. Maybe because we all have exactly, yeah. You hear that first kick and you go, no, that's not EQ'd right. I'm moving on.
That's not EQ right. Yeah. That's where the perfectionist comes in and says like, no, that's not gonna work.
Or you go, oh, somebody's stolen the Prada snare. That's exactly. So 2000 and that. Yeah. That's so 2008. Moving on.
Yeah. Cool. Well, yeah, that's actually a really great tip because I was thinking about it as well. Like, how can you see through those statistics and pick out the rotten fruit, right? So this is actually a great tip because now you can actually check and kind of like 80%, 90% be sure of the fact that the playlist that you're trying to get into is legit. And yeah, so that's I think that's definitely something a lot of listeners are going to use in the future.
Yeah, that's it. And look, I mean, some people go on and want to call out these playlists and these curators, and that if that's what you want to do, that's your thing. But I always if I see them, I just move on. Yeah, it's like if I hear a song I don't like, I'm not going to go and tell everyone online. I'm just going to go and keep going and find a song I like and tell everyone about that. So I always say, if you find a good curator that their playlist is strong, you enjoy listening to it, help them out and share it. It's that's how we're going to win here. We're never going to be able to shut down everyone that's doing all of these other things, but we can promote the ones that are doing it the right way and creating good playlists with great curation. That's it's the same with artists. Instead of going, wow, this artist, I really don't like this is poorly mixed, mastered, I'm going to tell everyone. No, find an artist that's created a song that you love and share that instead. And positivity is going to win here.
Spread positivity, yeah.
Exactly. So it's always going to exist out there, and there's always going to be people that will try it. You know what? Some people may go, oh, I just wanted to inflate my numbers to make me look good, so I'm happy to take that risk. But for most artists, when you're thinking long term, it's more important to get it organic, and that may mean that it takes 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, whatever it takes to get to that level. It's going to feel so much better when you get there than just having this short spike. True. And then it drops down gradually over the rest of your career.
True. And one other thing that I wanted to go over with you was this is something that I've been thinking about a lot as well. My opinion on it is that you have to build brand, right? As an artist, you have to build a brand from yourself, from the name itself. a perfect way to do that right now is using social media. But we are in a weird moment in the music industry where it's possible for artists to have millions of streams and still no shows.
Yeah.
What's your advice on that?
Artists that have millions of streams and no shows, you mean that they're not getting booked for any shows,
Yeah.
period?
So trying to convert your monthly listeners into actual fans.
Yeah, that's an interesting one because it really depends on the stage the artist is at. I guess if they haven't booked any shows before, it's safe to say that they're at the early stage in their career. It doesn't mean that their music is at the early stage. It just means that they haven't, I always say, like with the book, I always say you've got to start things out by putting in the work yourself. Nobody is going to come to you and go, I love your music. I want to sign you and become your manager and book you with 200 gigs a year. That's not how it happens.
Nope.
The way that it happens, as you would know, is you go, wow, I'm booking 15 gigs a month myself, and this is becoming overwhelming. And then a manager comes along and goes, I will take X amount, as a percentage, and I will handle all your bookings, and I will try and bring you more bookings and get you a better fee. Get you a hotel room and flights and all of that, and organize everything for you. But I'm going to take a fee to do it. And you go, that sounds great because I just want to keep creating music and playing shows. But yeah, at the first stage, you need to do it yourself. So you've got access to this data now. I mean, Spotify for artists, Apple Music for artists, Pandora through Next Big Sound. They all give you city level data. Sometimes it even goes down to the county or the suburb, depending on where you are in the world, so that you can say, okay, this little town in California that's not LA, San Diego, it's a tiny little town here. I actually have 2,000 monthly listeners on Apple, 1,000 on Spotify. I know that this is my biggest song in that town. I'm going to hit up the venue there, give them this data, and see if I can play there.
Yeah, so make the data work for you. Actually.
Exactly, because we never used to have access to this. We never used to know where we were getting played in the world. I mean, putting out tracks years ago, the only way I would know if anyone was playing it was if a DJ did their feedback on Fat Drop or In Flight and wrote, 5 stars. I play this every weekend, and then you have to go, cool. Where? Now you know where people are listening, and so you've got that data that you can go to the venue and go, look, this is our most popular song here. This is our audience that we have, and then the good thing about that is if you book a show, Spotify, for example, will send out emails from time to time, and they will announce to your followers in that town, in that state, in that city, JoeySuki is playing here in 2 weeks. Click here to get tickets. Click here to listen to his music on Spotify. And that's it. And that doesn't cost you anything. And it's the same with websites like Bands in Town, where anyone that goes there will be adding a tracker to you, which is essentially becoming a follower. And then if you have a show coming up, they'll get notified as well. So all of this. And Bands in Town recently updated
yesterday, right?
Bands in Town for artists. Yeah. So you've got, you've actually got something that is relating specifically to shows and touring, and you've got access to this data from there as well. So you can say, this is where I've played previously. These are the venues. This is my streams. This is my listeners in that city. The list goes on. And of course, you've got access to some level of this through Facebook as well and things like that. So, and whatever you need to do to incentivize that venue. If you go, look, if you book me, I'll do it for this fee. I'll run some ads on here. I'll reach out to my mailing list, which if you, I don't want to keep shouting out specific services, but for example, MailChimp lets you segment by city based on their most recent IP address. So you could say, I went into my mailing list and I found out that I have potentially 100 people on there that are fans of mine that have signed up to my mailing list that live in that city. I'll do an email blast out directly to them. a few weeks before the event, the week before, the day before. I'll also do some targeted ads on my social media, and then, I'll make sure that I put the concert up or the show up on Spotify, bands in town, so it notifies those followers. All of these different options. Pandora, with their artist marketing platform, you can record yourself and have it play in certain cities and say, hey, it's JoeySuki. I'm playing in your town next week. Come see me. And that will play before or after any of your songs play on Pandora.
That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah. And so there's all these things that you've got now that even as a new artist, you've got some data and you can provide some value to that venue. Some venues would always come to you and go, well, how many people are you going to bring? How are you going to promote this and stuff? And then it would be, well, I can walk around all day handing out flyers in the mall nearby and hope to get some people. Yeah. Or I can tell you the data that I have and give you my word that I'm going to try and reach them because they're my actual fans that have already heard my music. Yeah. So they're the people that I want in front of me when I play that. And then, if anyone else comes in, then they'll join in on the fun. But
they will bring friends. That's right. Probably.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And if you walk into a venue and there's 100 people who already know that song that's playing, it kind of makes you pay attention. And then you go, I'm going to stick around and see what this guy's about.
Yeah, true.
Or this girl's about, this person's about.
That's a great tip, man. And it's actually like you mentioned, like there have been times where we didn't have access to all these data things that we have right now. In my time as an artist, I didn't have access to that data. I kind of stopped when it all started, so best timing ever. But right now, if I have a look at all the data that's available and that you can actually use as an artist, it's great. And especially if you have a look at Spotify, because that just tells you who are interested in your music. It's a great tip, and I want to thank you for it. In general, I want to thank you for all the tips and tricks that you gave us right now. I definitely think people will come back again and say like, holy shit, this guy gave me tons of value. I will add your book as well, by the way. It's still available, right?
Of course, yeah. It's quick plug. You obviously include the link in there. Yeah. For anyone listening, it's in bookstores around the world. It's print on demand because I did it independently. So what that means is if you walk into any bookstore and you say, do you have Work Hard, Playlist Hard by Mike Warner? They'll say no, but we can order it for you. And then what happens is a copy will be printed at a nearby factory and shipped directly to that bookstore or to your house. So no one else has touched it, which I know a lot of people love knowing that they grab a book and there's no piece of gum stuck in between the pages or somebody's taken it and read it and put it back or anything. It's crisp, it's new, it smells good. And that way we're not wasting paper, printing thousands of books and just having them sit there. Yeah. So it also allows me, if I were to push out an update, I could actually push out an update overnight and then tell everyone, hold tight. The second edition is available. You can order it from tomorrow. Yeah, which is pretty mind blowing to think that you could do that with a physical book. Yeah, but bookstores around the world. I'm not even going to try and pronounce most of the names, but there's definitely some over your way as well. You know what? Just for fun, one of them I believe is Hugendubel.
Hugendubel. I don't even know. See, I'm not that big.
I shouldn't have tried to pronounce it.
Even if you didn't, I'm not that big in bookstores, so I probably didn't even know it.
Yeah. But yeah, it's on Amazon as well. Paperback, hardcover, Kindle, PDF through the website. I'll make the list goes on. You'll put a link in there.
Yeah, if you can send me a link where all the versions are available, because I do have the link, but I think that one has just been the ebook. So if you update me on the link, I'll make sure it's in the description. And awesome. I can totally recommend it. Like I said before, I've got great feedback from people that have read it. I've read it myself, and tons of value again. So thank you for joining me in the Artist Coaching Podcast again. And
thank you.
Looking forward to staying in touch.
Always enjoy our chats, and thank you again for letting me speak with your audience. And I hope that somebody found this valuable out there and it helped them.
That you definitely did. Thank you for taking the time, man. See you next time.
Thank you.
Bye.